Yo, hey guys, it's Pop and Jacques Slade here. Back with another unboxing, and today I have this sneaker that I honestly feel like is going to be the most popular basketball sneaker of 2024. Now, I know that's a lot to say, and you know what sneaker it is by the title here of this video, but I have a lot of confidence in this video for a few different reasons, because there are a few things that Nike is doing with this model that I think place it in a different category and make it more accessible than other sneakers that are on the market right now. With that being said, let's hop right into it. This is the Sabrina 2. It's Sabrina Ionescu's next signature sneaker with Nike, and you can see here on the box has her name, and her signature has Sabrina 2 there on the side of the box, and here on the tag you can see it's Sabrina 2. Now this is the Court Victory colorway, and there you go. Just a really great looking sneaker. Man, look at that. I really like the way this sneaker looks. Now, let's just get it out of the way. Yes, this sneaker has some Kobe vibes, but I don't think that should stop anything. In fact, if anything, I think it makes this sneaker more valuable to the consumer because they're thinking about it in a certain kind of way. For those that are fans of Kobe Bryant and Kobe's sneaker line, you know that Kobe didn't mess around when it came to the design of his shoes, especially the stuff that he did with Nike. There was a laser focus that Kobe had when it came to his product and making sure that his product was absolutely the best that it could possibly be. And my thinking is that with Sabrina's line, Nike is going to do something similar. And if they're channeling, in a sense, Kobe Bryant, then that sort of maniacal sort of attention to detail and attention to performance should be here with these as well. But just my thoughts. But let's get into the shoe. Let's talk about it a little bit. So the shoe is $130, and they go all the way up to a size 19.5 in women's, which is basically an 18 for men. And it goes all the way down to a 1Y for kids. And that's one of the strategies that I think Nike is employing that's really going to make a difference with this sneaker, because what it does is it presents this sneaker as an affordable option for parents to get their kids. And because it looks like a Kobe and it's not just like a women's sneaker, it gives it a little more impact, I think, and a little more reason for people to get it. So let's get into the shoe first of all. Mostly synthetic materials all over the upper. You have some mesh here at the toe, which should give you a little bit of breathability. There's mesh here on the side panels as well. Something really unique, let me get this out of here, about this shoe that you notice when you look at the side panels is they have, I don't know if we can get to it, you can kind of get to them here. See if I can see this in the top camera. They have these stripes here. Now this is actually a band that goes down to the footbed of the shoe. So you have these two, there's one here and there's one here as well. And they go down to the footbed of the shoe and they come all the way up to the laces, and it's what the laces are connected to. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to lock your foot down into the shoe from here on the midfoot, which is obviously something that you want. You don't want your foot moving around, or you don't want the tongue moving around. With this that goes down to the footbed, it's almost like it's pulling your foot down into the footbed when you tighten up the shoe and you tighten up the laces, which is what you want from a basketball shoe like that, especially one that's low top. Now, one thing for low top sneakers that you always want to pay attention to is the heel counter. And these have a nice, thick and padded heel counter, one to give your Achilles some comfort, but then you also have a pretty solid heel counter here as well. And that's going to keep your heel stable, which will give the balance to your ankle. A lot of people think you need to wrap around your ankle in order for your ankle to have the support, but really a lot of that support comes from the heel and the heel counter and keeping that heel locked in so that it doesn't move around as much. And speaking of the padding in the heel counter, take this out of here as well. There's a ton of padding on these things all the way around. The tongue is a little bit thinner, but this area here around your ankle and around your Achilles, and there's even an additional bump, so to speak, of padding here on the outside that should definitely keep you nice and comfortable as well. So you have that nice secure fit there. The other thing about the shoe, let's talk a little bit about the tech. So On the outsole, you have this herringbone, this Sabrina-inspired herringbone traction pattern, which is something that Nike typically does with their signature athlete. They'll use a traction pattern that's inspired by that athlete, and they've done the same thing here. You see you have the herringbone pattern all the way through, and then you have like this sort of circular radial circle pattern here going on here at the heel. And something really unique about these, like if you look at this, there's 3 lines in the outsole that I think really make a difference on how the shoe is going to perform on the court. You see there's one here to break up the outsole, there's one here to break up the outsole, and then there's another one here to break up the outsole. And my thought is that that is for flexibility. As you can see here, when you move the shoe down, those areas open up and give the shoe some relief. Now, my thought is that when players were testing out this shoe, and Sabrina and the wear testers were testing out this shoe, they found that having a solid block here of rubber didn't give them the sort of flexibility that they needed. So the designer added that. Like, look here, you can really see it there. See how far that opens up? That sort of relief right there is really just more being able to toe off, giving that toe sensation a little bit better when you're running up and down the court. And as we know, this is definitely more geared towards the smaller player. This is, I'm not saying it's not a big man's shoe, but this is something definitely geared for the smaller, faster player. That's just how Kobe's shoes were made. And I think Sabrina's shoes follow that same sort of thinking because that's the kind of player that she is. And speaking of the smaller, quicker players, you see that they have this small little outrigger here to give you a little bit more support, and that's to prevent the shoe from rolling over. So you have that extra lip there to stop it from rolling over so easily. So that left, when you're planting with that left foot, or when you're planting with that right foot, you have that right there, and it's right at the toe, or where your little toe is, to kind of give you that balance to bring you back inside. Now, the big story around this shoe is that they're using Cushlon 3.0 in this shoe, and it's the first time that they're using it in a Nike basketball shoe. I believe it's been used in running shoes before, but this is the first time that Nike basketball is actually using that technology, and it feels absolutely great. I gave these a little test earlier and ran around them in a little bit, and you could feel the Cushlon in the back. It's nice and soft. It's EVA. It doesn't feel particularly different from prior Cushlons that I've used. Now that it could be there, I'm sure there is a technical paper somewhere that Nike put together that can tell you exactly how this Cushlon 3.0 is different from previous Cushlons, but it feels very similar to me and the way that I use my shoes. Now, what you can feel and what does feel different is the zoom. There's a zoom packet here at the toe that gives the shoe a little bit of pop and a little bit of responsiveness that you can feel, especially when you're over on your toe. You can really feel the Cushlon here. You can't really see it in there. Usually you can see it through, and this is kind of a sort of translucent outsole, but you can't see it through there, unfortunately. But it's probably right in this area here where you'll find that zoom pad, because it sits right under the ball of your foot there, where you get that real extra texture. Now, the other thing that they've done with this shoe is they have a bunch of details that actually refer to Sabrina in particular. So here on the heel, it has anyone, anywhere, basically say like anyone, anywhere, she's ready to go anytime, all day long. You have the air zoom there over the Cushlon. You have Sabrina's signature there, but then at the toe, you have 20 right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, see if this camera's better. There's a 20 right there on the heel. And another thing that they've done is on the medial side of the shoe, they have this Nike They have this Nike swoosh, and then you have this broken pattern. So that broken pattern there is supposed to represent breaking through glass ceilings. So it's a nice little ode to her. I love that they've added that graphic there. It adds a little bit more texture to it and really helps the shoe come together. Now, you obviously have seen the stitched S's that go through most of the shoe here. You have these stitched S's that go around, basically from around your ankle all the way to the heel and goes around on the other side. You have a little bit of texture here on the medial side. It's almost like it kind of resembles carbon fiber, but it's a little blocky. It's not carbon fiber, by the way. It's more of the Cushlon, but just a different color. But you see that they have a little bit of texture there to give the shoe a little bit more depth and to kind of play with the shadows. The stitching on these is really nice, something that you didn't usually see on basketball shoes. There's a lot of stitching happening going along this piping. Usually that piping, when they put it on basketball shoes, it's more round and firm. And this is actually stitched in, so it's more of like threaded, if that makes sense. Now, my only concern with that is that that'll possibly wear a little easier, especially if you're really rough on your shoes or somebody steps on your shoes. That piping usually has like a protective coating over it. This doesn't have that. So I imagine this may tear away a little quicker than a normal shoe would. But again, you'd have to see that. I'd have to put these through the ringer to see what that is. You have some protection here at the toe to kind of keep you inside the shoe there. And then on the heel, you actually have the I logo there. And I was looking at this and I was thinking, I wonder if that dot pattern means something. I'm honestly not sure. I know it has the I, obviously, the I logo for her last name, but I wonder if that has an actual meaning, if it's some kind of point reference to how many points she scored or how long she's been in the league or something like that, because it's a very distinct pattern, and usually when they do something like that, it's not just to be someone's name. They usually have a little more depth to it and a little more storytelling there. One thing that I really appreciate, and I know I've said that like 1,000 times in this video, is on the inside of the outsole, you can actually see the cushion there, the foam there. Now, obviously this has no performance benefit per se, except for giving you that opening there to allow a little bit more flexibility, but it's just a cool little look. In addition, it gives you the I for her name. I just thought that looks cool, even though no one's really gonna see it when you actually wear the shoe, so no one's actually gonna see that. And then the other thing, and I'm not sure I can get this, is around the shoe, around the very edge of the outsole, there's a bunch of S's. I'll have to get a different camera so you guys can see that. But overall, I think this is a solid choice when it comes to performance sneakers, and especially in the basketball world. This is the first colorway, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of them, especially when we get through the summer and into the NBA season. We're going to see a lot more of these. We have a WNBA All-Star game coming up pretty soon, and with the popularity of the WNBA right now, I feel like this shoe is really going to start popping off, and it's really going to be the shoe of not only the summer, but the rest of 2024 when it comes to basketball shoes. I can't wait to see what NBA and WNBA players actually start playing in these. I think you're going to see a lot more in the NBA than in the WNBA, but it's a good look for the brand and a good look for Sabrina. I think they've got a winner in my mind with these. Again, these are $130 in adult sizes. They're $100 for kids. They go from 1Y all the way to a size 19.5, which is an 18 for men. So if you do have a big foot, it is a shoe that you're able to cop. Anyway, we'd love to hear what you guys think about this shoe, and what do you think about this being the most popular performance basketball shoe of 2024. I know there are other shoes out there, but I feel like this is in the sweet spot with price, with who the shoe is made for the demographic that the shoe is going to, and just the way that the shoe looks. We have a thirst for Kobe's right now, and this sort of feels that need, especially on the performance side. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you. Make sure you like, favorite, and subscribe and all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.